The NFIB index, if you think about the optimism index, very high, still consumer confidence still high. I think we'd expect to continue to see this decline slightly, the growth over last year in small business jobs, because the market is so tight. It's very difficult for small businesses to find the employees. What is interesting is even though that hourly earnings is down to 2.2%, which is pretty interesting from a wage growth perspective on an hourly earnings, the weekly earnings are up about 2.7%, 2.75%. Because more hours are being worked. So about 0.5% higher hours being worked. So when they're not finding the folks that they need to fill the jobs, they're working everybody a lot more hours than they were just a year ago.
But the rate of hourly earnings growth stands at 2.21%. So
Correct.
Workers are working longer hours. They're the same workers because the job market is so tight, but wages aren't necessarily going up that much.
Right. The hourlies are picking up some of that in overtime and so forth because you're seeing the weekly earnings up about 2.7, but the hourly earnings at about 2.2% wage growth is what you're seeing. And, what it looks like is the higher earners are really getting less of an increase. And those frontline minimum wage kind of folks are seeing the bounce of minimum wage increases across the country. They're actually seeing about 3.5% wage increase on the front line is where they're seeing the biggest wage increase.
If I'm trying to figure out what industries, what sectors might feel the greatest wage inflation pressures, where's the tightness in the labor market by sector? Where's the tightness in terms of skill level?
Yeah, in skill level, I think it's across the board, but probably the hardest right now to find are information technology developers. There's so much growth in software development right now that those are the most difficult jobs to find. And as we've talked about, small businesses who have those small development shops probably having the hardest time because they don't have quite the flexibility and the recruiting power of the larger businesses. The ones that are seeing the biggest wage increases are, of course, the lowest wage earners, unfortunately. So those that are making minimum wage in other services, discretionary services, leisure and hospitality, even though they're down from a job growth from last year, they're still the strongest opportunities for jobs. Unfortunately, they're just the lowest wage.